Okay,
All right,
thank you
sir.
so much. I I actually want to appreciate our speaker, my colleague, Mr. Evans. He has done a lot of job. I think I may not really have much to say again because listening to him, he has almost covered everything I was supposed to talk about. I don't know if we following. If we are following, please let's just show a reaction that you are following, please. We want to know those who are following us. Maybe a wave, okay. I can see Mr. Nisame or Mrs. Sorry, I can see Nisame, okay. Please, if we are following, let's just give a reaction, please. Okay, I'm going to speak on a guide, a continuation from where my colleague stopped. A guide on academic research and industrial rules for microbiologists in Nigeria. And now we are having somebody speaking from Cameroon, actually indicating that exactly the same challenge we have here in Nigeria, we also have it in Cameroon. So probably we are going to change our team to Africa instead of just limiting to Nigeria. So let's say Nigeria, Africa, and globally. So we are trying to give ourselves a guide actually, to how we can be useful with this course of microbiology in Nigeria and in Africa. My colleague has talked about what a career is, but I want to remind us that when we talk about career, we are talking about a kind of occupation or job or a position that a sequence of occupation, jobs and positions that one occupy during the course of person's working life, a working period of life. As you continue to grow, you move from one step to another. That is what career is all about. So it is defined as a work activity. It's a kind of work activity. So what we are talking about is the work activity of a microbiologist. As you keep on growing in this field of microbiology, what are the things, what are the developmental equipping that you give to yourself? What are those things that you are expected to have to be able to succeed? And as I have said, my brother has said a lot. So I am going to base my talk on the academic aspect of it. Myself, I am Onyema Stephen Okechukwu, and I'm a graduate of microbiology. Also, I'm currently a lecturer in the Federal Polytechnic Nekedo Owerri. And as one who has been in the academia, I think I will have to learn a little of what I know and a little of the experience I have gained from that environment. I am passionate for public health and epidemiology. I love anything that has to do with health so much. So I desire to do better in public health, trying as much as possible in creating awareness to the public concerning their health, their interaction with microbes, and what they need to know. I am also a member of the American Society for Microbiology, and I think it's a great place that I will also want every one of us to also be, because you are going to have a lot to learn from this. So just like this has been said, we notice that as a microbiologist, we can embark on a dynamic career path with endless possibilities. These possibilities ranges from a groundbreaking research in infectious diseases and even getting into biotechnology, which my brother has spoken extensively on, and to critical roles in environmental conservation and the pharmaceutical industry. So if we have these areas that we can actually dive into, the question now becomes, why do we still find it difficult to have microbiologists being useful in the society? Why do we still think that we cannot do much as microbiologists? In Nigeria, there is a growing emphasis in scientific innovations. The government is spending so much investing in science and innovations and all, and especially in healthcare. This makes it an ideal place for microbiologists to thrive. Yes, we should be relevant, because when you are talking about innovations, you are talking about researches, you can't do this without a microbiologist. A microbiologist is needed. I remember what is happening at Irua Specialist Hospital in Edo State. That place has been a center for research. You can remember during the outbreak of Ebola, Irua was a place that could be referred to. Many of these issues, it has always been Lassa fever. Irua is known in Africa as a center for Lassa fever. And who are these people who are involved in all these things? They are microbiologists. So there are ample opportunities everywhere for those who are in this field. However, I do not know whether I will say it is as a result of societal perception, or I don't know whether it is because of the environment we find ourselves. It now looks as if there are limited opportunities for microbiologists. So in this field of microbiology, sometimes people go to school and begin to ask themselves, so after my studies, what am I going to do? What am I using my certificate to do? And this is the essence of this webinar. We want to tell ourselves that, yes, your certificate in microbiology can be relevant to you. It can be useful. You can use it for something good. That is why we need to learn about it. They say to be, when information is power. Yes, when you are informed, you are armed. That is actually what that means. So we want to encourage us. We want to use this opportunity to encourage us that we can dive into the field of microbiology with our full chest. What do I mean with our full chest? I mean with confidence. You see, in this life, whatever thing you want to do, try as much as possible to be determined in that particular thing. Let me tell you, if as a medical doctor, maybe these are people who are being sought for in this country, and you go into medicine without you being determined to be a medical doctor, at the end of the day, you might end up not even achieving more. You might end up not being relevant to the society. Yesterday, I was watching a skit, and we were interviewing a young man, and he said he studied nursing, but he's not practicing. His nursing that he did is only for his own health, his own body. So when he's sick, he gives himself treatment. So you can see that somebody who is in the field of nursing, we ask you in microbiology and say, after your certificate in microbiology, what are you going to do? And maybe you'll be shivering. But there is somebody also in that same field who is not using what he studied to do anything. So we are saying that we want to a kind of spur us, a kind of encourage us to know that we can actually use what we have to better the society. What do we mean when we talk about microbiology? And I know that we understand that microbiology is a study of tiny, invisible life forms called microorganisms. This can include bacteria, viruses, fungi, and algae. These microorganisms play very crucial roles in our world. They play a very crucial role in our world. In fact, every single, there is what we call aerosol. Every single air that we breathe are made up with microorganisms. So I can say that if we are talking about air, we are even talking about microorganisms. It can either be the harmful ones or it can be the ones that are not harmful. So if we are dealing with something that is ubiquitous, if I can use that word, something that is almost everywhere, why will the field not be relevant? This is actually what we need to know. So studying microbiology helps us to learn how these tiny creatures live, grow, and interact with their surroundings, giving you the knowledge to solve health problems, even be able to create new medicines, be able to understand the natural world better. That is what studying microbiology helps you to do. So as a microbiologist, you are not just limited to just seeking what to do. You are also meant to be one who should be able to profile solution to the challenge of the world. That is what it's all about. We can profile solution to people's challenges and all that is on that. Now, let me also remind us that it has been prospected that the employment of microbiology in the world will grow to 7% from 2023 to 2033. That is a period of 10 years. We are going to have a growth of 7% in the need for microbiologists. And this is faster than the average for every other occupation. You notice that the world, we are experiencing weather depletions, the ozone layer problems, and I mean that people are falling sick now than before. There are more problems than before. You can, the insurgence of coronavirus can actually teach us, in fact, something. You saw what happened. Workers were needed, people were needed. So we are going to have about 1,900 openings for microbiologists. And this is projected to happen. 1,900 for every year for those who are microbiologists. But you cannot be able to utilize this opportunity if you do not have the things that are needed of you, if you do not have the qualifications. So this is why we want to talk about the educational qualifications for microbiologists. What are you expected to have as one who should fit into these people who will be sorted for, maybe in the nearest future? Now let's talk about the educational parts. We start with our bachelor's degree, that is the BSc. This is a fundamental degree in microbiology, and it is needed for the growth in this field. You must have this fundamental degree. It can also be from relevant courses like biology, biochemistry, or molecular biology. So at this stage, one would have gained a fundamental knowledge in microbial physiology, in genetics, in virology, and even in immunology. These are some areas that one will be groomed. You have fundamental knowledge. And one thing I have to say is that most of the times, just like the first speaker has said, most of the times we play away this fundamental stage. We play away with it. We are not committed to doing our practicals. We are not committed to doing our classwork as it's supposed to be. This is one area that we will not forget in the problem we face in Nigeria, in Africa, for employment. Most of the times, those who go to school fail to learn these fundamental skills that they are being taught. I am trying to tell us that these fundamental skills, your BSc program is a kind of stepping stone to a higher level. When you are not able to do well here, for instance, after your BSc and you want to go for your master's, some schools will expect you to a kind of write a kind of thesis, or will I call it an abstract of your BSc work. So if I was not able to do my BSc work, yes, I may go to my project work and copy and send to them. But you will now notice that in my master's, I am now expected to dive into research. Even though it is not so advanced, but I have to do more of research for me to be able to meet up with my requirement for master's. So after my bachelor's degree, the next step I move educationally is to go for my master's, that is MSc. And it is a kind of specialization part of a career in microbiology. So in this area, you can specialize on medical microbiology, you can specialize in industrial microbiology or in environmental microbiology. All these areas of specialization begin at this stage of your master's degree. So we also be expected to be engaged in some little lab work and activities and some research projects. Yes, you will be expected to do that. For instance, while you are doing your master's, some of the lecturers who have some, or professors who have some important research work to do, can invite some of us. And these are some of the opportunities that we are also talking about. I remember in those days in our undergraduate, we were told a story of some students who were taken to South Africa for some research work. There was a research center in South Africa that was ready to pay people in dollars. They were ready to pay big monies. But what actually happened was that the professor in Nigeria knew some of his students that time who were doing extremely well. And immediately he had to pick them. I think about 2 or 3 of them that we have talked about. And if I'm not mistaken, I think each was paid that time around $3,000 or so, or about $5,000. So what we are saying is, while you are even on your master's, you might also have some research projects to conduct. Now, after our master's, the next step we go is for the doctorate, that is PhD. So, PhD program is essentially for research. It is a research-focused career. In fact, that is what we are expected to do there. This involves conducting original research, publishing papers, and developing expertise in a highly specialized kind of a field of microbiology. So you can have areas like the microbial specialized subfield of microbiology. You can specialize on microbial genetics, you can specialize on virology, or you can even specialize on microbial ecology. These are some of the areas that one who is doing his PhD, even in the industrial aspect of it. For example, we talked about the molecular microbiology and all. So when you are in your doctorate, you are mainly going to carry out research. So you can now see how the movement is going. That if there are no fundamental knowledge of research in our first degrees, at this point, we are going to find it difficult. We are going to struggle. So most of the struggles, most of the challenges that we have is as a result of not being able to get the foundations. When the foundation is faulty, it becomes a problem. So this is the educational part. We've talked about the BSc, that is your first degree in microbiology. We've talked about the master's. That is where you begin your specialization. We talked about the doctorate. That is the research-based field in your study as a student in microbiology. Now, what about the specialization field? Yes, we have talked about this, but we will still mention that you can now specialize in medical microbiology. One who specializes in medical microbiology focuses on the role of microbes in human diseases, studying of pathogens and antibiotics resistance. One can also dive into vaccine development. Yes, you might be among those who can be called upon or who can go into researching on developing vaccine for a particular problem, a particular disease or the other. So under medical microbiology, if you go to some schools, I was speaking with a colleague who is doing her master's in one school in Nigeria here, in one of the prestigious universities. And she was telling me that sometimes most of these courses, what this school calls this course might not be what the other one considers that course. So sometimes you can have some schools who offer courses like medical parasitology. Yes, medical parasitology. You can have courses like under medical microbiology, just like I mentioned before. You can have immunology, that is being able to study about the immune system, its response, and the microbial infections that has to do with the immune. You have topics like the innate and adaptive immunity. You talk about immunological disorder. You talk about host defense. You can specialize on host defense mechanism or even vaccine development, just like we have mentioned. Then under medical microbiology too, you have molecular diagnostics. So this course introduces in an advanced molecular techniques used in diagnosis and even in characterization of microbial pathogens. You have topics like PCR, that is polymerase chain reaction. You don't know. Most of us, until we finished our first degree, many of us didn't have access to a polymerase chain reaction machine. I remember I presented my seminar on polymerase chain reaction, but everything was just on paper. I can actually tell you. But I also want to say that even those ideas on paper also helps you when you come across the machine. So in molecular diagnostics, these are some of the things that you study. You study about DNA sequencing, genotyping. These are some of the areas in molecular diagnostics. Then you also have the area of epidemiology and public health. The area of epidemiology and public health about talking about the principles of epidemiology and its application in understanding the spread and control of infectious diseases. It covers topics like outbreak investigation, surveillance system, disease modeling, public health interventions, and all the rest of them. So when you go into this, you notice that this is a very nice course. It's a very good thing.
Please, for those of us that are joining from YouTube, please, I see your questions, and at the end we'll attend to them. Thank you. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay. So, yes, that is on medical microbiology. We are talking about specializations, areas that we can specialize on in microbiology, knowledges that we need to acquire so that we can be useful to the society and useful to ourselves. This is exactly what we have been talking about. So, aside the medical aspect of it, We can also specialize in the industrial part of microbiology. Now, this involves we using the microbes for industrial purposes, such as the production of pharmaceuticals. So you are going to notice that even somebody who is in microbiology is also very useful in the industry, in the area of production of drugs. Yes, one can find himself or herself in such a place. Production of food and beverages. I mean, fermentation. We know how much alcoholic beverages are, how much they are selling in Nigeria today, and those who go into that field. So I can decide also to go into that, into the industrial role. In fact, so many persons like this industrial aspect of microbiology because they feel that that is where you have more money. But I don't want to believe that. I am not going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you that there are people who are in medical who are also as successful or even more successful than those who are in the industrial. So in industrial microbiology, you can be involved in the production of pharmaceutical products, food and beverages, or even in the making of biofuels. Yes, these things are some of the areas we can find ourselves. Then we have the agricultural microbiology. We have the agricultural microbiology. It focuses on the health of plants, the microbe interaction between, microbe interactions, yes, with plants and the soil and all the rest of them. We talk about using these microbes to enhance crop productions and even protect against pests. People want to go away from some of these pesticides that are harmful to the health. People are looking for a way that natural things that can be used, or natural products can be used to provide pests that we can use to maybe get rid of pests and at the same time enhance the health of plants, make it good for the body. So that is on that. So this is an area that one can also dive into. Now we have another area, research-focused career. Number one of it is the academic research. Academic research. This involves working in universities, working in polytechnics, working in research institutions, conducting fundamental or applied research, and publishing even findings. Publishing findings. Let me remind us that, especially those of us who want to go into academics, maybe you want to lecture. So we are saying that in the academics, for you to progress as a lecturer, you have to be able to carry out research and present research papers. You have to be able to publish research papers for you to actually prove that, yes, you are really doing your work as one in the academics. Because as one in academics, you are expected to come out with innovations, come out with findings, try to enlighten the public. That is what you're expected to do. So for your promotions, you have to be involved in research and you have to be involved in publication of letters. And I want to let you know that even before you get that job of lecturing and you have already published a paper, is a plus to you. It's a plus to you. It's a very big plus. So most times, many of us, when we graduate from the university, maybe after our first degree in microbiology, most of us will relax. We forget about it. We begin to pursue some other things because already we have told ourselves that, what am I going to do with this certificate? That is what we are told, and we have come to believe that. But life has taught me that you may not know where you will find yourself tomorrow. So every opportunity that we have to make good use of it. Every opportunity to prepare ourselves, we have to make good use of it and prepare ourselves. Prepare yourself and wait, because you don't know where you find yourself tomorrow. So in research-focused career, you have academic research. You also have industrial research. Those industries that are producing the materials that we use, or for instance, the pharmaceuticals and the beverages and some of the food. There are some fermented food from the industry too, like even making of yogurt and all the rest of them. People keep on going into research. People keep on going into research to know how they can improve on these products. Somebody thinks of how to make his own even better than the other person's own. So if you are one who has good ideas that can help in these areas, I think it will be a plus to you. So people in this industrial research are expected to be involved in quality control. Yes, quality control. They are product development specialists. You cannot be working in a company as a microbiologist and you don't have innovations. So you're expected to sit down and be able to research, be able to come up with something new. And when that happens, you now see that you have become an asset to that particular organization. We also have clinical research. We have clinical research. These are from the medical microbiologists. They may work in hospitals. They may work in diagnostic labs. They may work in public health organizations, focusing on disease diagnosis and even epidemiology and even infection control. These people are those who have dived into the area of research. These are the people who are needed in this area. Then you can also be a part of a governmental regulatory body. Yes, one can be a part of governmental regulatory body. We have so many of them here. People who are working with organizations like the NCDC, that is Nigeria Center for Disease Control. These are areas, these are places meant for us to work in. These are places meant for us to be. We have the NAFDAC that you can work in as a you can work as a microbiologist. We have the CDC. We also have the WHO. We have had a lecturer who was sent all the way she had been with WHO. She works with WHO. She's a Nigerian. She's somebody like us. So we can also be involved in environmental agencies. We can be part of some environmental agencies that study pathogens, those ones that track outbreak and even develop public health policies. Yes, we can be part of all these people. But just like my colleague has said, all these things that we are talking about will only be possible when you develop these skills that he mentioned to you. I want to remind us again of these skills that we are expected to develop. These techniques, these skills and techniques that we are expected to have. You must try as much as possible to be proficient in microbial culture. Simple culturing. Simple culturing. It will not make sense that I went through the university and I don't even understand the simple gram staining technique. I remember in those days, some persons, in fact, when you ask them to come and describe the gram staining techniques, they will be fidgeting. So one must be able to know some of those things. You know, when when our students were doing their a seminar proposal. They were presenting their project topic actually. That is what it was called. And they were giving a proposal. Then you ask a student, how are you going to carry out this work? The student tells you, I have not done it. Okay, you want to go and do a work, you don't know how to actually do it. You now expect that when you get to the lab, the knowledge will miraculously, or will I say automatically, come into you. They feel that you shouldn't ask them to be able to explain what you are going to do there. So what are we trying to say? One has to develop some skills. While you are a student, you have to develop these skills. Because I think that is where we have a platform. That is where we have a platform that can give us the opportunity to be able to learn some of these things. Then one must be able to understand the simple principles of the PCR, how to handle some of these things. Gene sequencing, he talked about it. Microscopy, yes, we need to be able to understand some of these things. We must be able to understand some of the bioinformation tools. Yes, we should be able to have all these things. Then number 2 is we must be analytical in our thinking. We must have that analytical thinking skill. That is to analyze and interpret data. When I see a data, I should be able to interpret it. For instance, I carried out a microbiological experiment, and maybe after some times when I am expected to make observations, I should be able to know what I'm expecting, what I want to see, and I should be able that both the morphological or most of those appearances that I see maybe on my plate, I should be able to interpret them and say, this is what I've been able to see. So these are some of those things. And number 3, we must have a good writing and communication skill. How can you make your research? How can you present your papers if you do not know how to write a research? So these are still areas that we have to dive into, study about these things. How do I present research papers? How do I apply for grants? How do I write a proposal for grants? I went to an institution to apply for a program, and I was asked to write a grant proposal, asking that I need so amount to be able to carry out so thing. This is a project I have, I should write a grant. So we have to learn some of these things. We have to develop these skills. We have to be good in communication. Then number 3 skill or technique we must have is being able to collaborate. Collaboration is very, very important. You cannot do some of these things alone, and you notice that when you work with others, when you come close to others, when you associate yourself, we have people who are doing well. I think the first speaker talked about it. Look at one thing. When I finished my first degree, I had to go to look for a lab to work in. I told them that I did not want to be paid, although it didn't work out anyway. The man kept playing me. I will call you. I don't know what his fear was all about. But I have already told him that I was not going to collect some pay. Personally, I do certain things even when there are nothing financially coming out of it. I do most of those things because of the experience and the skill. And this is the challenge most times that we have in our country, Nigeria. If that thing is not going to pay that person, the person will not be interested in it. Most times we get interested in things because we know that there are some monetary values those things are going to give us. But I'm telling you that something that may not have given you a monetary value today might give you the next 2 years or the next 3 years. You cannot actually tell. So we must learn how to collaborate. If I have lecturers who are doing well, I stay close to them. If I have a research centers that I have access to, I can be a part of that place and be able to develop myself. Now, let me bring to our layman's understanding some job opportunities for microbiologists in Nigeria. Most times when you go to LinkedIn or maybe job advert centers, you will see adverts for people like laboratory scientists. So a microbiologist can do this. You can be a laboratory scientist. Most of our colleagues that we did a first degree together with, most of them are laboratory scientists. They are working for hospitals, and although it might not be government-owned hospitals, but at least one may start somewhere. And I also know that there are some who are working with a government-owned hospitals. Yes. So one can also be a food safety quality officer. Food safety quality officer. So companies that are specialized on production of food can take one who is a microbiologist. Yes, opportunities exist in these places. You can be a laboratory technician, maybe under packaging. You can be a laboratory technician packaging. One can be a quality supervisor microbiology. Quality supervisor microbiology. One can also be a quality assurance manager. Yes, even in microbiology, there is a particular topic in your first degree, you study about quality assurance. That shows that this is our work. And these are things that companies need. Companies want people who are in this field, people who can actually do this. We can also be medical representatives. Medical reps. Yes, a microbiologist can be a medical rep, either for even for pharmaceutical companies. You can be a medical rep for pharmaceutical companies. I don't know if many of us in microbiology know about this profession. People are doing it, and it's a very good one. And I also know that there are many persons who are being paid well in this particular area. You can be a graduate trainees. That is a brand activation executive. Yes, you can be a brand activation executive. One can also get into lecturing job, like some of us are doing. We can get into lecturing jobs. You can lecture in a polytechnic. You can lecture in a university. Most of our graduates, I don't want to teach. I don't want to teach. But these are jobs, these are careers that gives you a leverage. It gives you the opportunity to learn and study more. It gives you the opportunity to develop yourself. My people, everything must not be all about money. Everything, when you become someone, when you develop yourself, when you build yourself, I tell you, money will come looking for you. That is just one thing. So we can also be research associates or assistants. Yes, we can be research associate and assistants. There are grant opportunities for those of us who want to go into academic research. If you are a lecturer in a university or in a polytechnic, you have the opportunity to access the TED fund, that is tertiary education fund, that can help you to study more, to build your career, to develop yourself, go into research, or even further your studies. We also have the health research and development grants. These are opportunities that one can leverage on. So what have we said so far, and what are we trying to say? We are saying that microbiology has a lot of opportunities for us. But most of these opportunities can actually be utilized when we are focused, when we have the requirements, when we have those things, those both the foundation and also the other areas of development that are expected of us. When we have some of these things, we'll be able to make ourselves relevant and we can enjoy this field of microbiology. There are many Nigerians who are known as they are known in virology, they are known in even in parasitology. These are people who are respected and regarded worldwide. So you can be one of those people. You can be one of them. But I must tell you that they did not earn this recognition by being lackadaisical about this course. They took it serious and they believed that they are going to do well in it. They believe that so much and they see themselves excelling in it. So this is the little that I have to share with us as regards to educational, industrial, and occupational parts of both medical part of microbiology. The journey one can take and become successful, or beat his or her chest and say, yes, I think I have imparted in the society. Thank you so much. So if you have a question, please, we'll be willing to attend to your questions. I am sorry I couldn't actually, I had some little issues which I cannot really tell where it's coming from, that I couldn't actually present a visual for us to follow. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Prof, for that insightful piece you gave us. And I'm sure everyone participating in this, they are steaming with gratitude. So thank you, sir, for that. Please, can we just give reaction to our speaker? If for those of us that are around, just give a reaction, a thumbs up or something. Thank you, Miss Sarah. Thank you, Prof. We appreciate what you've done. Thank you, Mr. Sarah Schultz. Thank you. And our family streaming from YouTube as well. We see you. Yes, we see you. Thank you very much. So, without any further delay, please, if you have questions, just quickly signify. I know we've taken more time than we said we were going to. Apologies for that. And I believe it was worth the time, but that's not an excuse anyways. So please, if you have any question, quickly, let's just signify one or two before we go. Okay?
Hello?
Okay, sir. Please. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. I have a question. I don't know if, but I think these things apply the same because many students doing microbiology in Cameroon, they're actually students who have written medicine concours, that is entrance examinations into medicine, into engineering, and so on. And they could not gain admission, so they get back to this one as the last resort. I don't know if that is the case in Nigeria.
Yes, it happens like that too. It happens like that. It happens. As a matter of fact, I was when I was giving microbiology, I was applying for medicine. So yeah, so when I was giving microbiology, in my first year, I was like, what kind of course is this? But as time goes by, and I begin to see the prospects and everything, I fully embraced microbiology during my industrial training when I saw the things that could be done with microbiology. So I think it happens in most times, most case scenarios. That's how it happens, and it becomes because and the field is a very lovable one. So at some point you begin to forget. You actually forget that this was not what you wanted to do, and it's because. And you know why it's like that? I think the reason it's like that because people don't get to know about microbiology before they get to school. So they
For sure.
they didn't get to choose this for themselves. If I had known about it before maybe going for career counseling, someone have told me about microbiology, told me about any other question. I won't, because I now begin to see that everything I loved, everything that I want that got me interested in medicine was just there in microbiology. It's always like that, even in Nigeria. And I think it's like that in other parts of Africa as well. And that's because of lack of recognition, like we said before. People don't really know about microbiology and the good they can do and the good microbiology can do for our society. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
I want to add something too.
Okay.
Yes, what I want to say is that just like you have said, I think many of us are victims of this particular issue. Like in my own case, I was going for nursing. And because I was not given admission in nursing, so I had to. Although there was an option whether I should go for physiology, biocare, or microbiology, but a friend who graduated from biochemistry asked me to go for microbiology. So I think I had a guide, and actually going through microbiology, I noticed that yes, actually it was worth it. And I think this is the essence of what we are doing here. If we can even add, if it is possible, we can invite even those who are seeking for admission, so that in situations like this, they can have a knowledge of what this course is all about, know what they are expecting, have a perspective of what they are going to do. But the area I actually want to also add is this, that whatever thing you are doing in life, sit down and know the area that particular thing will be helpful to human need. Don't just go to school and study because you just want to go to school. And this is why we are talking about the area of specialization. If you want to specialize, ask yourself, why am I specializing in this particular area? What do I really need to offer to the society? And you see that when that happens, you see that that person will, people will begin to value that particular thing you are doing. People will come to know, what are you doing? And before you know it, it will not be a thing of maybe I am here because there was no option. That is why I just find myself here. So that is a little thing I want to add to what our lecturer has said, the answer he has given to. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for that. That was a very good clarity for everything. And I hope we've answered the question, sir. Mr. Siri, I'm sorry I can't really pronounce your name. I don't want to murder your name, so I'll just call you Siri. So I hope we've been able to answer your question. And if there's any other question, please just let us know before we we are ending soon. And like I said earlier, we have a community of microbiologists that advocates and create awareness about this field. We just need passionate microbiologists that want to make a difference, a positive difference in the field of microbiology. If you would like to be part of this move, this community, just click and fill, and that's it, so that we can start doing the good works. We can start creating positive impact and impacting people and telling them and giving microbiology the narrative we want it to have. There was a video I saw online that was actually listing they put together a couple of useless courses to study in Nigeria. And to my greatest surprise, microbiology was topping the list. You know, as a microbiologist, I was sad. Like, these people don't know what they are talking about. Well, it is the situation of things. So if we want to make a difference, if we want to see things differently, it's going to have to start from us.